Five Nights at Freddy's is a series that has captivated millions of 12-year-old squeakers who can't shut up about how Golden Freddy has entered their local Hilton through artificial intelligence. And yet, during its 10-year run, I've never truly played a game in the series. So I decided to sit down for a full month and play what many consider the pioneer of the horror genre. A game that has just as much respect as my brain on a Friday night, and is a series that will ruin your eardrums thanks to its plethora of jump scares. But we're not just gonna play the first game. Oh no, we're gonna do the original series, all four, from Chuck E. Cheese to CC's to Hazy Maze Cave and to my bedroom. After all, how hard could it possibly be? Before we delve deeper into Scott Cawthon's wonderful world of hell, let me give you, the viewer, the rundown of this video, how all of this is being set up, and what my thoughts are going in. Each segment of this video will focus on each game in the original series from 2014 to 2015, starting with Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and ending with FNAF 4. Each segment will cover everything needed to beat each game, as well as some specific stuff to each game, like their mechanics, unique gimmicks, fun facts, and much more. Going into this, I didn't really know what to expect, as I'd only played FNAF a handful of times throughout the years. I did give myself some time to both look up and come up with some unique strategies before I started playing. That way I'm not spending an actual eternity in here. Because if you thought I wasn't going to prepare even slightly before doing this, then you're nuts. I do it all the time, just like when I get rejected. So I think it's only fair that we kick it off with a game that started it all 10 years ago back in 2014. So buckle your britches, bitches. Let's get cracking. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Never thought I'd say that in a video. I sure hope you like the very closed-off corridors where you get to experience space acupuncture meets Markiplier jump scare. Yes, I ripped a Maxor quote. Or maybe try the stage where all your friends sit and wait to make fun of you for being a cringe loser baby. I think it's fair we start with the main strategy that I used for when playing FNAF 1. Also, huge shout out to Five Nights at Freddy's creator Ambience for this strategy, as well as many others used in this video, as his videos helped out tremendously with my playthrough, as well as many of the fun facts and details about all of these games. You'll constantly want to be switching between your left and right door light to check if you're about to get smashed, and flip up the camera to check how your psychic friend Fredbear is doing. In later nights, like Night 6 and 420 mode, you'll see a pattern that follows light camera, whilst doing so as fast as you can. You may ask yourself, why do you use this strategy exactly? Well, Freddy and Foxy are both unique in the sense that they will not move if a camera is up. You'd probably then think that, well, if Foxy is in Cam 1C and Freddy is in Cam 1A, how am I supposed to get them in the same camera? It turns out, it doesn't exactly matter. Technically, flipping up the camera on any camera, so long as one of them is on your screen, will stall both of them. Now, this does not mean that, say, Foxy isn't going to move. Foxy will move given enough time. Like, for example, on 420 mode, Foxy will run down the hall at some point. It all depends on how long you stall him for. Even so, it's best recommended to keep the camera steady on Freddy on the main stage, and tab over to Pirate's Cove roughly once per hour to check in with Foxy and his questionably large hook. We stay where Freddy is specifically because Freddy has a timer of his own that ticks down every few seconds, and if that timer reaches 0, he will leave the main stage and start moving towards you, and you cannot stop him. In order to restart this timer, you simply have to look at him through the cameras roughly about once every few seconds. Using this strategy, I'm able to stall both Freddy and Foxy for a long period of time, sometimes even the entire night, which is the main strategy once you get beyond night 3. Stall Freddy and Foxy for as long as you can, whilst putting down the doors when Bonnie or Chica decide to roll up on your crib. And if Foxy does escape from Pirate's Cove, make sure you drop the left door so he doesn't run in and eat you. Last thing you want is a pirate coming at you with a hook, ready to hook your anus onto it and dance around like he's a Russian on crack. You'll also want to keep an ear out for various sound cues, as this will help you determine where the animatronics are without having to look at the cameras. If you hear the sounds of kitchen pots rattling, it means that Chica is in the kitchen, and you don't have to check your right door light for a little bit. If you hear Freddy's laugh, that means that Freddy has moved one room closer to you, and that you're about to get clapped. And if you hear Foxy singing, well, then that means he's just lonely. You should probably go and hug him. I'm sure that's gonna work out. The first 5 nights actually went pretty well, apart from dying a couple of times here and there. Like on night 2, where I ran out of power due to some really bad RNG, and Freddy proceeded to clap my ass cheeks. Foxy also came to check out his fan mail pile on night 4. Night 5, I ended up doing it in one take, and I officially got the first star on my save file. Oh right, we're 100%ing all of the games. What? So we ain't done. What, you thought I was just gonna do 5 nights and call it quits? Yeah, no, I got Nego to build. Ladies, I'm looking at you. Once night 6 rolls around, it becomes very clear that you want to save as much power as you can. This is mostly done through something known as min-maxing, but considering that I can't do that with literally anything, then how do you expect me to do it in a video game? There were several instances where I would run out of power at 5 AM, only to be killed by Freddy moments later after his famous jingle known as "You're Screwed" plays. But eventually, I did get the rhythm down, and managed to clear night 6 after a few attempts. I couldn't say the same thing for when I played Salmon Run and murdered Freddy Fazbear in cold blood fucking H. That's an inside joke. The final task for Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is 420 mode. And in order to explain what 420 mode is in a nutshell, I think it's time to explain one of the major things that makes Five Nights at Freddy's so scary and difficult to many, and that is movement opportunities. Each animatronic has what's known as a movement opportunity, where once every 3 to 5 seconds, the animatronics will effectively roll a dice to determine if they can move or not. If this randomly rolled number does not exceed that animatronic's current AI level, then they will not move, thus failing their movement opportunity. If this number does exceed that animatronic's current AI level, then they will move, thus succeeding their movement opportunity. This is something that you're going to start to notice as you get later into certain nights, as well as later nights like night 5 and 6, as these AI levels will only increase. Therefore, the chances of an animatronic missing a movement opportunity goes down significantly. This is something that is carried forward throughout the vast majority of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, and it's become a staple of what makes these games both challenging and fun to replay. This is also what makes something like 420 mode so difficult, as the animatronics can just show up to your door in mere seconds, and move in ways that you simply won't expect in some cases. One thing to note here is that Foxy will most likely attack you during night 7, so when you know that Foxy has left Pirate's Cove, quickly tab over to the West Hall to trigger his running animation, and then quickly close the left door. You only actually need to let Foxy bang on the door once, and then you can safely open the door again. Reminder, you only have about 26 seconds to react once Foxy leaves Pirate's Cove for when he runs down the West Hall, so make sure you're aware of where he is at all times. But regardless, after roughly 15 attempts, I finally finished Night 7 and 420 mode and completed Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Welcome to the next game in the series, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And while yes, we're still at a pizzeria, I'd like to think that this is the new and improved location known as Friedrich Fazbear's Mega Pissplex in the year of our Luigi 1987. And the kids that went there were stuffed into some quirky animatronic suits. They said that Chica had meth cakes, and if they didn't get any, then they were gonna burn the White House. In my opinion, FNAF 2 is the most complex of all of the games, but at the same time, it somehow proved to be the easiest of all of the games I played. And I think the reason for this is that even though Five Nights at Freddy's 2 has far more things to work worry about than the first game, it's how those things are presented and meant to be handled that turns them into simple tasks rather than make me feel like I'm playing Among Us. Let's meet some of our new friends, including the toy animatronics, who just came out of a failed Toy Story shoot. I'm waiting for them to say, "Where's Andy?" Fucking Balloon Boy makes his debut, and I want to jump a cliff before I have to listen to his damn lines again. No, I don't want a fucking balloon, you goddamn child molester. The animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's 1 are also here, in the form of the Wither, which helps describe what my relationship status is like. It's so withered that I could crumble to dust if you breathed on me. And if you do that, you're gonna have to make an apology video. And it better not be like the ukulele one. Your boy deserves better, okay? Regardless, Five Nights at Freddy's 2's mechanics are pretty straightforward, with another pattern-style strategy that you'll end up following as you descend into later nights. This will devolve into checking the left vent, flashing the light in the hallway, checking the right vent, flipping up the camera to wind the music box for about 1 to 3 seconds, and then putting on the Freddy mask and rinsing and repeat. You'll be checking your vents for fucking Freddy Krueger himself, as well as Toy Bonnie and Chica, who will slide into your DMs via the vents like it's the opening of Domestic Girlfriend. Mangle also functions this way as well, and when you hear "it's static," put on the mask. Notice how I say "it," as Mangle in the franchise's canon lore, thanks Matt Pat, doesn't have a confirmed gender, so therefore, Mangle's gender is a certified yes out of 10. Foxy will slowly roll up in true gangster fashion to the main hallway, and you can ward him off by flashing the flashlight at him. The flashlight does have a limited amount of power though, but thankfully it's the only thing in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 to actually have a resource meter of sorts. At least I don't have to worry about getting my door broken into by a fucking robotic fox who's looking to have a good time. You'll also have to master putting on the Freddy mask, just like Dream is doing after the face reveal, especially when the Wither animatronics show up. With each passing night, the reaction time of these guys entering the office before they jump scare you will go down significantly, starting at roughly 1 second on night 3 and ending at roughly 3/4 of a second on night 7, meaning that yes, in something like 1020 or 420 mode, you effectively have half a second to throw up a mask if Withered Bonnie rolls up on you. Like I mentioned earlier, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 proved to be the easiest game in the series for me, because unlike every other game, which took roughly 2 to 3 days to beat, I beat FNAF 4 in like 5 hours. Yep, I cleared through nights 1 through 5 in only about an hour, and about 7 attempts on night 6, which took a little over 45 minutes. And the rest of my time was spent on 1020 mode. Yes, I did complete 1020 mode and not 420 mode. Sorry ladies, but little did you know that one white guy with Sigma cringe energy can solo 10 girls at once. I'll leave you my number if you're interested. Yes, 1020 mode is incredibly difficult, as you need to be near perfect when it comes to checking vents, flashing the flashlight, winding the box, etc. I did love getting flashed by animatronics like literally every time I put down the monitor. The vent animatronics, mostly Toy Bonnie, have horrible AI, meaning that you end up getting cucked by them quite a lot when playing this mode. You're constantly going to be dealing with threats, primarily Foxy and the puppet. I will admit, I did have the puppet get loose a few times during 1020 mode, and even 2 times in night 6. Foxy is surprisingly worrying on 1020 mode, thanks to the very little amount of time that you have to flash him before someone jumps you. Using a pretty decent strategy and adjusting the speed to my own, I eventually did get the hang of it. It took way longer than it needed to, but once I finally figured out the rhythm and got into the groove of it all, I finally rolled over to 6 AM on 1020 mode and finished Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Where do I want to start with this one? Five Nights at Freddy's 3 takes a pretty strange turn from the previous 2 entries in the series, because rather than focusing on a classroom's worth of kids that can kill you, Scott Cawthon decided to take the craziest one of the bunch and have him kill you. The rest of them jump scare you because they want to feel something. It's also inside a pizzeria that looks like a reskinned version of Hazy Maze Cave from Mario 64. The only major animatronic that you'll be worrying about in this game is Springtrap. He's your typical dad figure who failed to come back after getting the milk, and is now taking out his anger on his own child, just like any parent would do if given enough time. Springtrap's movements is one of only very few in the entire series that you, in a way, have control over. Springtrap will start in the upper cams of the facility, and will slowly move room by room using vents along the way to reach your office, and give you arguably the lamest jump scare in the entire series. However, using your audio devices, you can play audio in the current camera you're on, and so long as Springtrap can move one room and get there, he will most likely move to that room. Thus, the main strategy is something that the community calls the Springtrap Trap. This involves keeping Springtrap in cams 9 and 10, and sealing off their associated vents when he enters them. If Springtrap gets further away from cams 9 and 10, lure him back to them, or hold him off in other cams. Your second worry is going to be your audio, video, and ventilation systems. You'll need to reboot these systems from time to time to make sure that you can stop Daddy Springtrap from whipping your ass with his belt. You have a set amount of audio uses per night, with the lowest being 2 on nights 5 and 6, so make sure you're using them wisely and rebooting them when it's needed. Your ventilation and video errors are on their own counters that reach as low as -10. Once it does reach -10, you will get an error. For ventilation errors, if you're not viewing something for more than 10 seconds, an additional -1 drain will happen every second, and this timer will reset once you look at something in the camera. There is a standard drain of -1 every 6 to 12 seconds, depending on the night. For video errors, once you have been in the camera for a full 12 seconds, it will subtract from 0 a value that is the same as the number of the current night. For example, if you are on night 3, it will subtract 3 from 0 to be -3. You only have 24 seconds of camera time on nights 5 and 6 before you get an error, so make sure that your time stalking your father figure is worth it. And your third and final worry of Five Nights at Freddy's 3 are the phantom animatronics. Unlike literally any character in the Five Nights at Freddy's series, apart from, you guessed it, fucking Balloon Boy, these animatronics will jump scare you, but they won't kill you. Instead, they will jump scare you and disappear, and will give you a ventilation error upon leaving. You can actually avoid cams 4, 7, and 8 during most of the game, as you won't be tabbing to these cams pretty much at all, meaning you won't have to worry about Mangle, Chica, or the puppet during your playthrough. However, you may need to tab to these cams quickly if you're trying to lure Springtrap back to cams 9 and 10, so if you do, make sure that it's a quick visit. Foxy will occasionally be standing to the left of your office. If he is there, pan back to the monitor, open it up quickly, and pan back again to make him leave. Balloon Fucker is back as a ghost, and guess what? He's somehow just as annoying as he was earlier in the video. Phantom BB can spawn on cams 1, 7, 9, and 10, otherwise known as your trap cameras, and all you have to do to get rid of him is either change cameras and back, or simply press map toggle to the vents and back. Thank God it's easier to deal with in FNAF 2, because I want this kid to fucking die in-game. However, you're going to be surprised to learn that Five Nights at Freddy's 3 actually gave me a lot of trouble early on. I've played small amounts of Five Nights at Freddy's over the years, but the one game I never touched on was the third entry. I never really liked its approach of just one dangerous animatronic, and how it was different in a number of ways compared to the previous 2 installments. So I actually got stuck on night 3 for a while, like at least a few hours, probably like 2 or 3, which might not sound like a lot of time, but when you consider that these nights are only just under 6 minutes long, you're talking somewhere in the ballpark of around 20 failed attempts. I simply could not figure out Springtrap's movement, how the phantom animatronics worked, etc. It took way too long to figure out how Springtrap worked and how to properly lead him from camera to camera. But when I finally did get it, I proceeded to then clear nights 4 and 5 in my first try. Yes, I know, shower me with compliments, ladies. I'm all yours. I figured I had things going pretty well, so I went straight into night 6 on Nightmare mode. And as you'd expect, Springtrap loves to move around like he's a fangirl at a Taylor Swift concert, or just people complaining on Twitter. And it does become much harder to keep track of him. Aggressive Nightmare mode is basically just night 6, but worse. So if you can master Nightmare mode, then its aggressive cousin should be a cakewalk. And I haven't even talked about the fact that I had to redo all 5 nights after realizing there were fucking minigames I had to do. Yes, by completing these 6 minigames, you get the good ending, allowing you to achieve the 4 stars needed to complete Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Out of all 4 of the original games, this is the only one that had minigames that were required. Why, Scott? Why? These minigames are unlocked through clicking on certain items in various cameras on certain nights. BB's Air Adventure is unlocked by going to Cam 8 and double-clicking on a drawing of Balloon Boy on the left wall. Mangle's Quest is a Night 2 exclusive minigame that requires you to go to Cam 7 and press some buttons on an arcade machine in a specific order. Chica's Party is a Night 3 exclusive minigame, which will require you to find Shadow Cupcakes in Cams 2, 3, 4, and 6. Stage 01, yes this is a real name, is a Night 4 exclusive minigame, and inside the office there's a clickable set of 9 tiles that act as a dial pad of sorts. You'll enter a specific code in this pad and the minigame will begin. The Glitch minigame is a Night 5 exclusive minigame, and will require you to double-click the Shadow Bonnie figure on the office desk. And lastly, Happiest Day is unlocked much like BB's Air Adventure, by going to Cam 3 and double-clicking a picture of the puppet. You'll need to complete these minigames, survive all 5 nights and both variants of Nightmare Mode to fully complete Five Nights at Freddy's 3. And after the aforementioned 10 hours, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was finally done. Thank God that's over. The minigames were the best part of this game. I didn't like waiting in the office. It reminded me of waiting for my dad to come back. Oh boy! Here comes Daddy's belt. Welcome to Scott Cawthon's Tunnel of Doom, the epicenter of my nightmares, and the game that blew my eardrums up so fucking bad that I actually started to register any loud noise as a fucking Fredbear jump scare, and I just didn't tell anyone. What makes Five Nights at Freddy's 4 stand out from every other game in the series is simply how unique it is. Rather than being a simple office simulator with some cameras mixed in with some cool looking animatronics, it's now in your dank as fuck bedroom and 4 scary as shit robots that want to drill lead into your asshole without a second thought. And Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is reliant on sound cues, which isn't something new for the franchise, but having the game's main focus of knowing what's happening focus solely on sound cues is brand new for the franchise. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 set the precedent that if you didn't have a good headset, you were fucked, which is what ended up happening to me. Night 1 went pretty well, but come night 2 and yeah, never left night 2. I had issues hearing the Freddles, hearing breathing at my doors from Bonnie and Chica, hearing Foxy running into the closet in the hallway. Pretty much every sound I could hear was super quiet, but the jump scares weren't. I tried tirelessly, trying every option I could, from changing computers, different headset settings, but alas, to no avail. So, I did what any person who doesn't know Five Nights at Freddy's very well would do. Go to someone who does know the franchise better than I do and can give me some good advice. This is where my good friend Maya comes into the picture. You see, Maya has some interesting things to say about this game, like how I found it rather odd that she thinks that this motherfucker is, and I quote, cute. I'm sorry, but what? This motherfucker wants to bite my dick off for calling him a beta male in front of his GF last night, and you're calling it cute? I mean, the Freddles are cute, don't get me wrong, but this? Why did I go to Maya again? Like, what am I doing? I knew that she was the perfect person to ask how I could solve this problem. And after explaining the situation to her through text messages, she just said to crank the volume of my headset through my computer. Yep, and I guess she herself said it best. I guess your ears are just gonna get raped when you die. And oh boy, did they ever get raped. I want to talk about how the animatronics move in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, as they're reminiscent of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 in multiple ways. In classic tradition, Bonnie and Chica are your door animatronics, with Bonnie on the left door and Chica on the right. All of the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 4 will start in the living room of the house, and will move to their associated sides, with Foxy choosing either side he wants. From the living room, Bonnie, Chica, and later on, Fredbear and Nightmare will move from far, near, and door spots respectively. If you flash the flashlight and you see them retreat, this is them returning to the living room from their far state. If you close the door while they're in their far position in the hallway, they will then move to the near part of the hallway, that being the part close to your door. To remove them, you'll need to open and close the door again. And if Bonnie or Chica are in their near position and left without being checked or warded off for around 20 seconds, they will jump scare you. Fun fact, on nights 2, 3, and 4, Bonnie and Chica will actually be forced to the near position if you are sitting in the middle of the room for a certain amount of time without checking anything. Basically, if you're AFK. And it's on a random hour. For Bonnie, it can be between 2 to 5 a.m., and for Chica, it can be between 3 to 5 a.m. Foxy will pick a side to go down, much like Bonnie and Chica will, and you can hear his footsteps when he runs from hallway to hallway. But if for whatever reason you go to the opposite side that he is on, he will get into your bedroom and enter the closet and will stay there for the remainder of the night. Now his movement opportunities are used to make him more aggressive in the closet, and thus increase his progress meter. Closing the closet door will decrease his progress and slowly return him to being a plushie. And if Foxy reaches a progress value of 10, Foxy will jump scare you the next time you run back from a door or turn away from the bed. Foxy will also force kill you after 15 seconds have passed after looking at the bed without running anywhere else. Freddy is actually the least important animatronic in the game. Whilst having no form of movement opportunities, the these are where the Freddles come into play. Looking at the bed, you'll see Freddles, the super cute and adorable little guys that help spawn Freddy. Around every 4 seconds, Freddy will add his AI value to his own progress meter, and for every 10 progress, a Freddle will spawn on the bed, up to a total of 3. But you need to be careful, because if Freddy's progress bar reaches 60, the next time you turn to the bed, you will die. Also, small side note, if you haven't ran anywhere in 30 seconds, his progress will increase by 1 every 0.2 seconds. That's a bit much, game. And then there's Fredbear and Nightmare. I'm combining both of them together because they basically function in the same way. Both of these animatronics serve to act as all of the animatronics combined. They can go through both hallways, the bed, and the closet. They move super fast, being able to move every 2 and 3 seconds respectively, require lightning fast reaction times, ranging from 0.3 to half a second, and can even fake laugh. I'm sorry, but what? These fuckers control you? I didn't know this was a middle finger from Scott Cawthon himself. They can also laugh and run at the same time, hence the fake laugh from a moment ago, which is them telling you that if they're actually in your bedroom or not. So listen carefully, but not too carefully, otherwise you'll get clapped without realizing it. Even so, in nights 1 through 4, you'll face off against the classic squad of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. On night 5, it's just you and Fredbear for 6 grueling minutes while you two do the tango inside your own home. And you're both men, like what the fuck? Night 6 is basically a mix of nights 4 and 5, with 12 to 4 AM focusing on the classic group, mainly being night 4 but harder, and 4 to 6 AM being Fredbear only, or night 5 but harder. It actually forces you to change your strategy midway through the night, thus requiring some actual thought from the player, which I like. Night 7 is basically just night 6, except at 4 AM you're not going to be seeing Fredbear, but instead you're going to be seeing his demon-eyed cousin known as Nightmare. Nightmare is quite literally in my damn nightmare, and this is where I have to give Scott Cawthon some mad respect for making both him and Nightmare Fredbear look fucking incredible and scary as hell. I love Nightmare's look, and honestly, I'm starting to see why Maya said he was cute. I mean, look at that smile, those cute red eyes, and that adorable yellow tie. Sure, he might want to kill you, but at least they'll be laughing tears of joy while he does it, right? Night 8 is basically just Night 7 again, but this is where 420 mode kicks in. Night 7 already has Nightmare at a base AI level of 20, with the rest of the gang sitting at 15. Except Freddy, cause fuck Freddy. So if you end up mastering Night 7, you're probably not gonna have any troubles with Night 8. Here's a fun fact. Once you've completed Night 8, you're not allowed to do it again. The game instead removes it as an option after you've survived it once, and instead will open the challenge menu up for you instead. This gives you access to some fun challenges, like Mad Freddy mode, which ups Freddy's progress timer from 2 seconds instead of 4, effectively boosting his AI level to 10 instead of its max in 420 mode of 6. What about Insta Foxy, which will put Foxy in the closet immediately upon the start of the night? Or my personal favorite, Blind mode, which permanently blacks out the entire screen for the whole night. No time indicator, no house map cheats, nothing. It's just you and some sounds, with the only thing you'll see being a jump scare. That's pretty fucking cool if you ask me. Even so, whilst Five Nights at Freddy's 3 took the longest up until this point, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 easily took the longest. Its 4 stars require you to finish the first 5 nights, Night 6, Night 7, as well as 420 mode. So at least there wasn't any mini games, but this is by far the hardest game in the series so far. I had to have spent around 30 hours working on this one entry alone, most of which was because I was recovering from every jump scare that destroyed my eardrums past Night 2. But hey, it's funny for the video, and I mean, a girl told me to do it, so I had no choice. So, what are my final thoughts on the original Five Nights at Freddy's series after 100%ing all 4 of the games over the last month? As somebody who's never played these games during my teenage years, it was truly an incredible experience to play these games for the first time. I never realized how much fun these games can be, and just how much intricate layers these games had to them. From their quirky and downright brilliant AI system, the incredibly fun tech and gameplay options that have been discovered thanks to the community, and the pretty unique, plasticky feeling and downright terrifying designs of our beloved animatronics has allowed Five Nights at Freddy's to earn its place in my gaming catalog. as a place that I'll hold dear to my heart. I enjoyed playing every single one of these games, except for FNAF 4, because fuck FNAF 4. And I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about them as much as I enjoyed playing the games. If this video manages to break 1,000 views, yes, the big 1K, I will do a sequel to this video. Yes, a sequel, covering some of the other games in the series, like Sister Location, Pizzeria Simulator, and maybe even Ultimate Custom Night and the VR games. And if this video somehow breaks well beyond 1,000 views, I have something in mind for that. But anyways, I'm gonna go let my ears recover before I get back to making videos, so I'ma head out. My name is PandaPowerSauce, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.